Hello and welcome to Kev's English Podcast, Real English every week with your host Kev Dean.
Hello, it's Kevin here. Welcome back to The English Native, the podcast that helps you write smarter, clearer and more confidently for the IELTS exam. Well, that's one thing that it does. It also does many other things. But for this episode, there's something in particular I want to talk about. So let me set the scenario. So if you listen to my last two episodes, I probably mentioned July, I was nearly entirely booked out by Chinese students on italki. I don't know quite how that occurred. Somebody must have spread something about me on social media on their Xiaohongshu red note. But anyway, so I've had many Chinese students before. I used to live and work in China a long time ago now, I have to say. So I do have some familiarity with the peculiar characteristics of Chinese writing and speaking for the IELTS test, as in why do a lot of them get 6 and 5.5 for both writing and speaking when they need 6.5 or maybe 7. Now, last two episodes I specifically spoke about realistic expectations or unrealistic expectations. I pointed out from a speaking section how much time it really takes to get from 5.5 to 6 to 6.5 and above. So what I want to talk about for today, in the same vein, is for writing, especially writing task 2. One problem you may remember I mentioned was that people often rely on memorized phrases, or they memorize particular phrases, or they rehearse some answers. And they try and incorporate these in the exam. Obviously, the examiner can hear these a mile away, that they're not natural. It's not natural communication. So, looking at many essays over the, was it 11 years since I've been on italki? Was it 2014? 11 years? Yeah, oh dear. So, the number of essays that I've looked at in that time, I don't know if it's in the thousands, but it's in the hundreds for sure. And there's certain things, it isn't just me, all other italki teachers who specialise in IELTS and examiners will tell you the same thing, okay? It's something that we've all noticed over the years. So we're going to look at phrases to avoid, okay? So this is one of the biggest traps, as in the speaking section. Candidates fall back on memorized phrases and expressions that, in the same way for the speaking, they can actually lower your score in writing task 2. So if you're aiming for band 7 or above, keep listening. So first, why certain phrases hurt your score? First, let's be clear, as I explained before for the speaking section, the IELTS writing test, it's not about big words or fancy expressions. It's about expressing original ideas in your own voice using natural academic English. But the problem, many test takers rely on memorized sentences. For example, and this is a particularly egregious one. So for the outline sentence, right? So what some people do, they have a scope sentence at the start, something like, in the contemporary era, the issue of blah, blah, blah is a controversial topic and highly debated, or some similar kind of tripe. You don't need it, right? All that you need to do is simply restate the topic. According to some, so-and-so, I agree because blah, blah, blah. That's it. If you want to see some specific examples, check out my YouTube channel. I've got, about 400 well, the 600 videos, maybe 400 for IELTS writing. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's 600 videos now on mostly on writing stuff, OET, IELTS. Anyway, links in my profile wherever you're listening. So what was I saying? Yeah. So they have a scope sentence. In the contemporary era, the issue of so-and-so is a controversial, hotly debated topic. Recognizing the validity of both arguments, I endorse the latter perspective. Somebody actually sent me that last week. Recognizing the validity of both arguments, I endorse the latter perspective. What was that? What does that even mean? So saying I agree, I disagree, in my view, etc. Or something like what's another one? Another good one. This essay will discuss both sides and give a conclusion. In this essay, both perspectives will be analysed, leading to a conclusion. Anyway, something similar, right? So that's a waste of, I'm not going to go into references, but the author of the IELTS, Pauline Cullen, check out her work, check out her book. She does actually say that. IELTS Liz, Advantage. Everybody says it. Don't use these scope sentences in the contemporary era, and don't use this essay will consider both perspectives and discuss the view. Don't do it. Simply restate the topic, answer a question. Okay, so you've got stuff like, this essay will discuss both sides in the modern era, technology. The crux of the matter is, so these phrases are overused, vague, and don't show critical thinking. Examiners see them all the time, and they're trained to spot this. They can spot memorized templates. The same in the speaking, which is why you all get 6 or 5.5, because they know you've memorized this. They know it. So that can hurt your lexical resource and coherence. So let's take a look at some phrases, the most common ones that you must definitely avoid. This essay will discuss, right, why not? Because it doesn't tell the examiner anything about your opinion. What you can do instead, write a thesis. Although remote work increases productivity, it can also lead to social isolation. Right, so I agree because, so instead of saying this essay will discuss both views and come to a reasoned conclusion, you say, in my view, although remote work increases productivity, it can also lead to social isolation. So that outline sentence, the examiner knows what the essay is talking about. When you've got stuff like, in the modern era, since the dawn of time, people keep on writing that. Irrelevant. It's too general. Irrelevant. All you need to do, paraphrase the topic clearly, specifically. Some people say this, I agree because, I disagree because. Or you might get, it is an undeniable fact. Actually, somebody sent me that yesterday. One of my students, I did say something about it to her, but she actually said something. It was like, it's undeniably something. Let me just have a look. Could you say it? It's undeniable that so-and-so. I says, what, really? Are you sure? So no one can deny this? Can you prove that? That no one can deny this? Can you prove that? Obviously not. So this is why you don't use them. It's meaningless. It doesn't have any, So better phrases. You could say, according to some, it has been argued, it is widely believed, many people believe, something such as that. Instead of saying it is an undeniable fact, which you cannot prove. Obviously, you've got a lot of informal, vague language like kids, stuff, things, many people, children, items, or be specific. At the end of the day, in a nutshell, idioms and conversational phrases don't belong in academic writing. Simply, in conclusion, that's all that you should ever use, in conclusion. And another one, the aforementioned, this will just make me laugh, right? The aforementioned arguments offer insights into vindications for the impression that, what a load of tripe. So, it's better to be clear than clever. Don't be too clever. You have to treat the examiner, the reader, as if we are an idiot. You need to explain things. Don't just say, stuff. Don't just make a statement. Simple assertion is not an essay. So, using idioms is good in a speaking test. At the end of the day, kids these days, if you're talking to the examiner, but if you're writing, you must be formal and academic. So if you think of it like this, and this is key, speaking should be natural, conversational, which is what I've been teaching people for the last 2 or 3 weeks now. Because they would come in, I'd ask them questions, and they'd be very, very formal. It wouldn't be natural. I said, is that how you would speak to a friend in a discussion, a conversation? And they all said no. So why do you do it with the examiner? So, natural conversation for speaking, but writing must be clear, specific, and formal. So, how to practice this? Well, for a challenge, right? So, if you take a recent essay question, maybe from Cambridge 20 or 19, try writing an introduction without using any of the phrases I mentioned. If your sentence starts with nowadays, stop, try again. If it says, I will discuss both views in this essay, I will do this and that, scrap it. Rewrite it with your real opinion. Actually, if you go to my YouTube channel, if you can, I've got something like 101 IELTS introductions. So what I did there, this was in association with IELTS 9 PRO, run by my friend in Iran. So what we were doing, we would give a topic and I would comment on people's introductions. So there's about 100 videos just about that. So you can see where I explain how to paraphrase. So check out those if you want to get some ideas. So to sum up, in conclusion then, avoid memorized phrases. Don't use slang, idioms. Be specific, original and clear. Writing for IELTS isn't about sounding advanced, whatever that means. It's about communicating your ideas naturally, like an educated person would. Okay? Anyway, so if you enjoyed this, don't forget to follow the podcast, share it around. If you need some more ideas, head over to the EnglishNative.com. Check out my YouTube channel, The English Native. If you're listening on italki, I've got about 30 odd episodes now, and I'm going to try and do an episode a week, every weekend, if possible. Well, I'm going to definitely try to do an episode every Saturday. Try and get the content more regular. Anyway, I hope that helps. So, write smart, stay sharp, and don't forget, keep it native.